A shocking crime you won't believe, and the truth is even darker than you think. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing stories. Let's dive in. Imagine waking up one morning to find that your bank account had been completely emptied by someone who never even set foot inside a bank. Now, imagine this happening to some of the world's top financial institutions, costing them millions. This is the story of one of the most sophisticated check fraud scams in history. A crime so well executed that it fooled even the sharpest banking experts. But who was behind it? How did they manipulate the banking system? And most importantly, how did they finally get caught? This is the full story of Jonathan Steele and the $10 million check fraud that shook the financial world. To understand Steele's scam, we need to look at check fraud itself. Despite being one of the oldest forms of financial fraud, it still accounts for billions in losses every year. Scammers exploit the time delay between deposit and clearance, tricking banks into releasing funds that don't exist. And Steele was about to take this to an entirely new level. Jonathan Steele wasn't your typical con artist. He didn't wear a ski mask or break into vaults. Instead, he used a laptop, fake identities, and an intimate understanding of the banking system. Born into a middle-class family in Chicago, Steele showed early promise in technology, but struggled with authority. A rebellious teenager with a talent for hacking, he was expelled from school at 17 and spent years drifting between low-wage jobs until he realized something. The banking system wasn't as secure as people thought. Steele's first scam was simple. He started with stolen credit card information, buying and reselling electronics. But he wanted something bigger, something that wouldn't just make him thousands, but millions. And that's when he discovered the world of check fraud. His plan? To exploit the loopholes in check processing, a system that, despite modern advancements, still had vulnerabilities. His method was simple but deadly effective. He would create fake business accounts, deposit fraudulent checks, and withdraw the money before the banks could detect the fraud. But this wasn't just a small-time scheme. Steele and his crew were about to take it to a whole new level. The first target, a regional bank in Texas. Steele, using a fake identity, opened a business account under the name Steele Financial Solutions. Within a week, he deposited his first fraudulent check, $25,000. The money cleared in less than 24 hours. And just like that, the scam was in motion. Steele's plan wasn't just about writing bad checks. It was a masterclass in financial deception. Here's how it worked. First, he used a combination of real and synthetic identities to create fake business accounts. These weren't random names. He carefully selected dormant businesses with real tax records, making them appear legitimate. Next, he exploited a system called check kiting. He would deposit a fake check into one account, then transfer the funds to another before the bank realized the check was fraudulent. Because banks often provide provisional credit before verification, Steele was able to withdraw large amounts before the fraud was detected. And he didn't do it alone. Steele assembled a crew, expert forgers, money mules, and even bank insiders who helped process checks faster. Each member played a critical role, ensuring that money moved quickly before banks could react. For months, it worked flawlessly. Steele's network was making over $100,000 per day, with accounts spread across 5 different states. But in any great heist, there's always one mistake that unravels everything. Steele had been careful. Every check amount was calculated to avoid raising suspicion. But greed, as always, became the downfall. One of Steele's team members got sloppy. Instead of sticking to their usual range, he deposited a $500,000 check into an account that had previously never seen more than $50,000. This triggered an automatic security review, and within hours, investigators noticed a pattern. Multiple accounts tied to the same EINs, deposits coming from the same locations, and rapid withdrawals following each transaction. The FBI was brought in, working with cybersecurity experts. They traced Steele's digital footprint, emails, fake IDs, and transaction logs. They knew they had found something big. By the time Steele realized the banks were onto him, it was too late. Federal agents were already watching his every move. The FBI tracked Steele to a luxury hotel in Miami, where he was preparing to initiate one last transfer. What he didn't know was that the hotel was already surrounded. At precisely 3:45 p.m., agents moved in. Steele barely had time to close his laptop before the door burst open. He was arrested on multiple counts of wire fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy. His operation had finally come to an end. The trial was one of the most closely watched financial crime cases of the decade. Prosecutors called it one of the most sophisticated check fraud cases in modern history. Steele pleaded guilty in exchange for a reduced sentence, but still received 18 years in federal prison. His accomplices weren't as lucky. Several members of his team were sentenced to 25 years, with others facing fines exceeding $5 million. The banks, despite their losses, were forced to tighten security, implementing new fraud detection measures. Check fraud remains a serious issue. Despite advanced security measures, scammers continue to find new ways to exploit the system. Experts estimate that over $1 billion is lost annually to fraudulent checks worldwide. So, what can we learn from Steele's case? First, fraud always leaves a trail. No matter how careful criminals think they are, digital footprints don't disappear. Second, greed leads to mistakes. If Steele's team had remained cautious, they might have continued for years undetected. And finally, banks are getting smarter. AI-driven fraud detection is making scams like this harder to pull off. But criminals are always adapting. What do you think? Was Steele a criminal genius, or just another scammer doomed to fail? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the biggest check fraud scams in history, don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more crazy crime stories, make sure to hit that like button. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. What crime shocked you the most? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. More insane stories are coming your way. Follow us for more on your social media handles, if any. And check out our next video here. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.